Hello, hello, hello. Today is May 20th, and as promised over the weekend, it's time to talk to Norm Winsky. Norm, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I was last on your show on the 6th of May. That was a Monday, just ahead of a kind of a busy week here on the with the astrological market view. And so, going over the six dates that I had, we're going to review those now quickly. I will review those. So we had the night of the 7th. AC is after the close. We had a new moon in the sign of Taurus. That's the bull. And anytime we have a new moon, full moon, we look at financials, grains, precious metals, oil, and because it was in Taurus, the bull, we're looking at cattle and cotton. Then the night of the 8th, we had Mars perihelion. That's from the Greek. Helios is sun in Greek, and para means close. So it was in the Mars 2 year cycle around the sun. Mars was at its closest point, and we'll be looking at corn, gold, and stocks. If you want any more explanation of these terms or why I'm picking these markets with these events, please feel free to contact me. I'll give you a free class. The night of the 9th, we had Mercury, a Mercury cycle, Mercury at an extreme cycle. Anytime we have Mercury, we'll be looking at the grains, corn, soybeans, wheat. And then the afternoon, the 15th, we had Jupiter to the U.S. natal chart. That's based on when the country was USA was founded on July the 4th, 1776, where the planets were then. And we'll be looking at stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. Anytime we have the U.S. chart, we had the U.S. chart again on the weekend of the 17th. Stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar, and again that same weekend. And so now let's look at the charts, see how it all came out. We had 3 points for corn. We had the moon, a Mars perihelion, and the Mercury cycle. You see, there's the 3 points. You're near a high there. You're near a low there, and that was the low, that pullback low. And you're right just past that low there. All three of those were potentially money makers for you. If you sold near the high and bought near the lows, you had a chance of making some money. Here's soybeans. I had 2 points. We had the moon and we had Mercury. And you see you're near just past that high there. We allow 1 day. And so if we're within a day and a reasonable amount of price, it's a signal and a good trade. In this case, a good trade. There we're at a low here on the Mercury cycle, and you had a bit of a pop up there on the beans. So here's wheat. We had the moon there for a little short-term high, and then it just went sideways. Yellow is sideways. We don't do sideways. Here's cattle, the moon, and the sign of Taurus, the bull. And look, there's your high right there, just ahead of the moon, and there's our window there. And you had a nice decline there for a winner on the cattle. Cotton was going sideways, so we do nothing. Silver's going sideways, so we do nothing. Gold had a pullback into our Mars perihelion, and the other cycle was and the moon, yeah, the moon and Mars perihelion. There's the 2 points there, and you're right near a nice low ahead of a big rally in gold. Here's S&P, a little tougher sledding here on the S&P this time. We had a pullback low there on the moon. That was good. Then we just went sideways. Then we had that point there. That was a miss. And then we went up here for a high. But then the market just went sideways. So I had a tough time making any money there. So our points there are only hit 1 out of 3 on the S&P. But that's why you want to trade these. One of the reasons you want to trade other markets. Here's T-bonds making a high there on the moon. And then we had our U.S. point here. And that was just ahead of a nice little short-term top there. And here's the U.S. dollar topping on the moon and making lows here on our U.S. point. The green box is because I did these charts Sunday night. This is Monday. And I did not know how this stuff was going to work out, this last signal here for the weekend of the 17th. So we're just going to leave that open and not count those. Here's the Aussie dollar pulling back into the moon, and then a big rally in the Aussie dollar. British pound, somewhat similar. There's my window there. It went a little bit lower next day, and then a big rally. Here's the Canadian dollar right on the low there on the moon, and a big rally, and the euro went sideways. Yen was the only miss on these currencies, and you can see it just kept going lower. Swiss franc, you made a bit of a low there, and it popped up there. So if we count up the green arrows and the red arrows, you got 17 winners, 3 misses out of 20 for 85%. Here I'm going to dive into a little bit of Fibonacci now, and this is really relevant today because, well, last Thursday, I've been talking about this in my market letter for a couple months now, that if you take the range that we had in 2022, we had kind of a mini bear market there in 2022, making a high on January the 4th of 2022 at 48.19. I'm rounding off the pennies. And then we declined into October the 13th. 34.92, I think, was the low there. That's a 1,327 point or handle range. And if you take that range, and we broke out over that a few months back, and if you take that range and then do a Fibonacci extension, 1.3819, and add that to the low of 34.92, you get 53.25. Well, last Thursday we got to 53.25, 70 something, just over 53.25 and a half. And today, Monday the 20th, we got to about 53.49. So apparently this is an important number for the S&P. What sort of proves that point is that both the Dow today, the Monday the 20th of May, both the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq Composite made marginally higher highs, but the S&P ran into a wall there at 23.50 and a half, 53.25 and a half, and couldn't get any higher, and then turned a little bit lower. So if we do get through this level, no guarantee that this is going to hold, then your next Fibonacci extension level would be the 1.618 at 56.39. Okay, so there we go. Now here's what, let's move on now to the crystal ball and look into the future. We have the morning of the 23rd. We have a full moon, and we'll be looking at financials, grains, precious metals, and oil. And then the night of the 24th, we'll be looking at Jupiter. Oh, Jupiter is going to change signs. This only occurs about once a year. On average, Jupiter stays in a sign for about 11 and a half months. And that's going to happen here on the night of the 24th when Jupiter leaves Taurus and goes into Gemini. And that's there's no direct markets that are associated with Gemini. However, this will be making key angles to the signs that have association with copper, oil, soybeans, sugar, and wheat. So those are the next best things to look at. So we'll be looking at those markets. Then we'll have Neptune to the U.S. Neptune, that's like a double oil whammy there. And we'll be looking at stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar, and oil. And then we have Pluto to the U.S. chart again for stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. Moon, North Node to the U.S. Sun, stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. And then finally, that's for the night of the 31st. And again, the night of the 31st. I think that's a weekend, right? That's over the week, May 31 weekend, right? Jupiter will be making a 120-degree angle to Pluto for cocoa, copper, hogs, and T-bonds. So if you'd like to get some more information on this, and I'm averaging, I don't know, 75% or better on most of these appearances I make on the show. If you're not doing that well, you might want to give me a call and see how we can get you there. If you're doing that well or better, I'd love to hear about it. Please call me. I've been doing this about 50 years now. Started back in the early 70s in college. Made enough money to buy a membership on the Chicago Board Options Exchange in 1975. Did that for 12 years. Also traded at the Chicago Board of Trade. I've studied all these different methodologies: Gann, Elliott Wave, astrophysics, astrology, music cycles, Fibonacci, technical analysis, so forth. So maybe I can help you. Please call Norm. I'm here in beautiful Naples, Florida. You can phone me at 239-594-3939. That's 239-594-3939. You can email me at this address, nwinsky@yahoo.com, or you can call me on Skype at that same address. Looking forward to helping some of the folks there, Jeff. Everybody have a great week ahead. We got the full moon coming in a few days, so you might want to give me a call here in the next day or two. so we can get you up and going.
Norm, I just have to clarify one thing. You said we hit 53.49. You're a futures trader. I believe that was the futures price. That wasn't cash.
53.25, right?
Well, that was the cash, which is what you predicted, but you said 49.
Wasn't that the high today? 53.25 and change.
It beat the old high by 7 cents.
Okay.
So, but you said 49. I think that's what we hit in futures, not cash.
Well, I'll put it
And
up on the screen
we are still
right
at
now.
your number. We're still at your
Let's
number as far as the cash market.
Let's see, SPX. I got 53.25. 32 is today's high.
Yeah, so I mean that just beat it by that, but that's not. I
Okay.
mean the price you gave wasn't.
You can, Jeff, I'll tell you what. You can keep the change.
That's fine. Okay, Norm, that's great as usual. I love your statistics. Great as always, and we'll see you back in a couple of weeks.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care.
Okay,
Thanks
bye.
for here. Bye.